If you're an angler that doesn't have a boat, then listen up. This week's show is designed especially for fishermen who like to fish from piers, docks, and jetties. Our guides and Dave are standing by with the rigs and techniques to make you a better fisherman here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Hello Texans, and welcome back to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy, and we have a special theme show for y'all tonight talking about fishing from piers, docks, and jetties. And you know, some techniques are a little different, but one thing is for sure, it's accessible to everyone, so there's no excuse not to get out there and catch a fish. Right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Brie. You know, the thing I like about it is that you can be a lot more mobile. You know, in a boat, you only got 23 feet or 16 feet, whatever the size boat, 35-foot contender, to go. But when you're on land, you're on foot, you can make a lot of adjustments to your fishing.
You can go anywhere like that.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's go say hi to Dave Farrell at the workbench. You might have a little something to add to our theme today. Hey, Dave.
I hope so. I hope I can add some stuff. I've done a lot of fishing on piers and jetties because I didn't have a boat for a long time, so I love doing it. So we're going to talk about some cool techniques to make sure that you catch the fish that you hook.
Well, that sounds good to me. All right, on the coast of somewhere beautiful in the Alvey Reels Middle Coast region, we're catching something this weekend, and Bink Grimes is on the line to lead us to them. Start us off, Bink.
I tell you what, we really love the jetty. It's the lifeblood of our bay system. It ushers in currents and lots of fish in and out of the Gulf. It's a spot to catch a fish when there's no other spot to catch a fish. And it's great this time of year. Our jetty anglers, they're walking the rocks in Matagorda right now. They're throwing mirror lures, they're throwing little johns, they're throwing bass assassins. Same in Freeport and Surfside. People are walking those rocks, and people are actually taking a jetty. Taking a ferry to the North Jetty of Port Aransas for the day to fish because you can't get there by anything but boat, but that ferry lets them off and they walk the jetty and catch some of the biggest trout of their life there. And I tell you that our jetty has been really good here lately. The surf's been on as well with our winds. They calmed a bit this week, and it allowed a lot of people to get on that jetty and throw top waters and soft plastic. And most people threw, the Mirror Lure She Dogs on the incoming tide, then they switched to the Mirror Lure 51M Mirror Lures and softines and any kind of soft plastic. Live baiters crushed them as well with on live shrimp. Boaters tossed in the first gut and worked around the trout as the tides fell around midday and caught fish up to 5 pounds on bass assassin sea shad. When the surf produces, so does the bay. Our bay is really doing well right now. We're finding fish 7 to 8 pounds per day. We've been releasing at least one 7 to 8 pounder just about every day. That's pretty strong in East Matagorda Bay. Then on Freeport and Surfside, like I said again, those jetties, people are throwing live shrimp for trout. They'll catch them on mirror lures, little johns, and bass assassins. Rockport, they've been working the sand and grass potholes with top waters early in the day. Then their surf in Port Aransas, they've been throwing sheep pups and mirror lures and little johns underneath the popping cork. That little john underneath the popping cork really looks like a shrimp. West Matagorda Bay continues to produce sand and grass closer to the Port O'Connor jetty and Pascal has seen similar results. I like the way the little flat there, called the hump around Port O'Connor jetty. Water comes right through, man. You're catching all those surf trout on little sheep pups and bass assassins. Then in Port O'Connor, be catching consistent on the mid-bay reefs around San Antonio Bay. Guy Lynn Smith said there's a great topwater bite there around rafts and mullet. And then he's been going later in the day in about chest-deep water, throwing chicken on a chain bass assassins. The photo there is a 9-year-old T-Boone bird. He lives up in Joshua, Texas. Fished me last week, and he was working over those trout in East Matagorda Bay.
Yeah.
Redfish. Our redfish guys in Matagorda know when things get tough, it's this time of year. The water gets in the upper 80s, tides fall 2 feet below normal. It really makes red fishing tough. The best pattern lately has just been to drift the middle of East Matagorda Bay. We're seeing slicks. Those fish are coming off the shorelines that are normally 2 foot of water. We're 2 foot low now, so they've got to come out there where we're catching all those trout, and they're chasing those shrimp. The jetty, once again, is a consistent player for redfish in July. Most of the fish are near the bottom. They're best on live baits like finger mullet and large table shrimp. And our Gulf shrimp season opened this past week, and there's a lot of jumbo shrimp right on the beach. Those 6 and 8 count shrimp, and those redfish really love those because that's what they're chasing right now. And then in Freeport, Surfside, and Port O'Connor, those jetties there, they're holding those bull redfish, and they're catching them right off the beach at about 20 to 30 foot of water. And don't be surprised right now, tarpon are trying to show up as well. Offshore, guide Michael Rebecca said those wahoo and dorado are all over the weed line at 200 foot of water. The wahoo are eating ballyhoo and deep diving plugs, and then the weed lines and the hilltops are holding billfish. Nighttime sword action has been productive about 80 miles out. All those wrecks and rigs are also just covered up with big old red snapper. And then out of Freeport, got Mike Siegel. He's catching kingfish behind shrimp boats, and those red snapper out there, they're in 40 to 80 foot of water. There's just tons and tons of 15 to 20 pound snapper coming to the docks. Our seas have been running 2 to 3 feet, and our offshore guys have really been enjoying it.
All right, thank you. Great report from the Alvey Middle Coast region. Bink, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Bink says that inshore, the trout are good in Port O'Connor while waiting. The flats next to Pass Calavio on Bass Assassin Sea Shads. And then offshore, kingfish are good offshore behind the shrimp boats, Brie.
All right, Rick, our Startron Middle Fresh region is up next, and Matt Loescher is giving us the hot spot lowdown on Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, and LBJ. Let's hear it, Matt.
All right, Brie. First off, on the docks and piers, that's a really great way to fish in the Middle Fresh region. It's a big deal that a lot of people do. A lot of fishing is done from them and around them by boat. But most lakes have, and I think actually all lakes, have some sort of public fishing pier for public access. The first ones that come to my mind, because I live near them and I know them, are Cypress Bend Park on Toledo Bend, and then the Castles Boykin Park at Sam Rayburn. Both of them have really awesome fishing that anyone can access and catch a lot of fish. I think, like I said, everyone has one, but if you're not sure where there's a good public fishing pier near you, just consult your local tourism commission, and they can usually point you in the right direction for one on your local lake. Some of the lakes also have big commercial marinas with huge docks that hold their own population of fish pretty much year-round. So they're just great fish attractors. The docks supply a lot of cover and shade, and there's always something to be caught around them. So like you said, there's no excuse not to get out there and catch them. Anybody can get on them and do it. Next, talking about the first species this week, the crappie. They're a fish that get caught off a dock a whole lot, and they've been biting pretty good here at Toledo Bend this week. Some of the deeper docks produce some this time of the year, but we're catching a lot of them kind of out in the middle of the lake in that summertime 15 to 30 foot depth, and they're suspending around the timber and the bridges. They're biting small minnows best right now, and then little small lightweight jigs are still working also. I'm still using a 32nd ounce jig head on 8-pound monofilament for a nice slow fall, and that's been working good for me. I've got a photo here for you of the Cullen family with a table full of crappie we caught. Had a really good trip that day. As you can see, I think we caught like 90-something of them that day and a lot of big slabs. So that bite's still good. They've been helping us out lately.
Nice. All right.
I'm
what else?
Going to bring it into the bass fishing here on Toledo Bend. It's still kind of tough, like I've been saying, but we're starting to figure them out again. If you work hard, you can catch a few. My first recommendation right now is just focus on the late evening and the early morning bite, because the past couple of weeks, the midday bite's just really been a grind, and it's so hot you don't hardly want to be out there anyway. I've been catching most of my bass shallow lately, starting right at daylight in about 2 to 10 foot of water, but they're adjacent to some deeper water, around those creek channels and stuff like that. So look for shallow areas near a creek channel that have some grass or some stumps or even boat docks around them, and fish in that cover. Bait of choice has been a Bass Assassin 7.5-inch worm and green pumpkin, and I'm just Texas rigging that with a 3/16 ounce weight most of the time, and that's been working really good for me. I got another photo here for you of my little buddy James with a couple nice little bass he caught this week. We had our Living the Dream Guide Service bass fishing summer camp this week, and James was one of our bass campers, and we had a tournament for him at the end of the week, and he was our winner there with those fish. So congratulations to James, and we really enjoyed doing that. It's a ton of fun. I can't wait to do it again next year.
Happy camper.
Yeah, man. What else you got for us, bub?
So I'm going to move over to Sam Rayburn now. The bass bite over there has gotten a little tougher as well. They're still catching pretty good numbers there, but the bigger ones are getting tougher to come by. So once again, look to the shallow cover areas that have the deep water close by. Fix a Texas rig bait like the Bass Assassin Skunk Ape around the cypress trees, the bushes, and the grass patches. Those are the kind of targets you'll want to check. And then lastly, been talking with my good buddy Jerry Poole down around LBJ, and he said the largemouth bass bite is tough there too, but the white bass are carrying him through. So the white bass bite's been good, especially at night. He's catching them around the green lights around the docks. That's where he's doing most of his damage, and he's using small swim baits and plugs right now to catch those.
So, Matt, I got a quick question for you. Those bass under the lights, the white bass, they make a lot of noise like they do when they're popping on the top water, or are they not quite as aggressive during the middle of the night?
They're aggressive, but they're usually subsurface. They usually stay down around the bait fish, right below the bait fish. They'll kind of come streaking through the lights a lot of times. So just best to usually just sit back away from the light and just kind of run that swim bait or crankbait just below the surface underneath those bait fish and catch them that way.
All right, thanks for clearing that up for us. It's time to take a look at the hot spots from the Middle Fresh region. Matt says that crappie are biting good on Toledo Bend in 15 to 30 feet. The bass fishing is best shallow early in the morning and then late in the evening, and the white bass are biting at night on LBJ around those green lights.
He sure looked like a happy camper.
Yeah, man.
Two bass. Oh,
He was.
man. I remember
Dude
summer
was a happy
camps.
fish.
Those were so much fun.
Yep, man.
I don't like being an adult.
No?
No, too much responsibility.
You're not doing very much of it anyway, so what are you
Oh,
worried
wow.
about?
Okay, we'll move on. Coming up next, we're heading
Still a
into the
kid.
lower fresh
She's
region.
still a kid, guys.
But there's still responsibility. But first, Dave Farrell,
30-year-old
who
kid.
loves responsibility, is up at the workbench for some rigging and techniquing.
What do you
Hey,
think?
Dave.
Yeah, I run from responsibility.
Yes.
Yes, I have all my
I'll get
life.
there one day.
Well, we're going to be talking about going out on the pier, making long casts, and catching what you want.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes. Can't
Long
wait.
casts.
Aldi. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Garmin. Join the club. Sportsman's Adventures. Fishing for adventure. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Reliability. Yamaha is known for it. And it's something boaters value, because these days, few things are built to last. When we find something that is, we hold on to friendships, traditions, outboards. Because every second on the water is sacred. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters choose Yamaha for the long run, for life. Because reliability starts here.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore. Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
For the Bay and beyond, team up with the best and rule the Bay in a Skeeter. Built for big water or running the flats, Skeeter has a Bay boat designed for you. Proven with 19 consecutive NMMA Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Versatility, control, performance, and design. Visit your local dealer or online at SkeeterBoats.com. Skeeter, it's more than a boat, it's a lifestyle.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi as you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sports Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-246-0673 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com. Well, we're here at the workbench for the rigs and techniques, Dave, and you got a lot of rigs. So I hope you got the techniques to back it up.
Oh, I got a lot of stuff here. You know, fishing from the pier is a great way to start, or even once you've gotten into it, it's still a great place to go. Like the fellow was saying before, you know, the piers and the jetties and those areas are usually places that have a lot of fish. And so that's a good place to go and try to catch them. And first off, we got some LV reels here, some side casters, and this little one especially, this little 50 watt, this 50, you know, I call it a 50 wide, but it's not really a 50 wide, it's called a 50. It'll fit on a 6 foot rod. So, you know, when you're using one of these big giant ones for the surf, you know, you have to have a big rod. And if you're on a pier or on a jetty and there's somebody nearby, you know, it can be a little bit of a pain. It's great for the beach. But when you get on a pier, it's kind of a long rod. If you're alone, if you get there early in the morning and you're, you know, then you can really launch with those long rods. But you don't really need to, because you can use one of these and use a 6 foot rod and still get a long cast. That thing holds like 800 meters of 10 pound.
Right.
So, you know, you put 420 on there and it'll wing a 4 ounce weight a long way, or a 3 ounce weight, or a 2 ounce weight for a trout or a redfish or whatever's swimming around out there. So,
And so,
you know,
the reason why you'd want to use a side cast reel is because of being able to get a long distance, whether you're on the pier or even on the jetty, right? Getting
Correct.
further away
right.
is a good
and,
technique.
you know, when everybody else is only, you know, fishing 50 yards out and you're fishing 100 yards out or more, you know, they're going to hit your stuff first. You know, and you can still use artificials with these too. You know, you don't, it'll still wind fast enough. You can get artificials. It's a big spool. It takes up a lot of line per turn, and if you can crank that thing, you can use artificials and get an artificial way out there. You know, it's and I also like the orbiters as well. You know, if you're fishing on a pier just like a regular guy using a spinning reel, those are very strong spinning reels and will stop a big kingfish or a cobia, whatever you get lucky enough to snatch on a big, you know, out there on the end of the pier.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Padre Island Pier, Bob Hall Pier is a great pier. You can get on there and go out there. It's a 1,200 foot pier.
Whoa.
So, you know, it gets almost a quarter of a mile out, and it costs, you know, $2 to get out there, and you can rent a rod and reel if you don't have one. They have one at Horace Caldwell Pier at Port Aransas. You know, it's another pier where you can go out and catch sharks and tarpon and king mackerel from the pier. You know, pompano as well, black drum. So these are all fish that, you know, you want to target, and we got all kinds of stuff here that are great for the pier and the beach and whatnot. I like to use, you know, a pompano jig or a jig like a gotcha, that little gotcha there. I love gotcha jigs because you can throw them, they're really heavy. You can throw them a long way. Toothy critters don't bother them too much. You can put a little wire leader on them and catch mangrove snappers and all kinds of stuff with those, and everything eats them as well. It's got a very erratic action, and it's a great thing to throw on a spinning rod.
Now, would this be a good place to introduce some fish bites to something if you're not lure fishing?
Correct. You know, you can get a fish bite rig, a surf rig, and put a triangle weight on there, and put some fish bites on, and everything will eat that too. Speckled trout will eat fish bites by itself without a shrimp or anything else on there. But you can put a shrimp on and a fish bite or a clam or whatever you want. Every black drum will eat the fish bites without anything. You know, I always make sure that I have a good pair of scissors when I have my fish bites with me, because, you know,
what are you gonna do, Dave?
I like to cut them into little triangles and put them on my jigs and whatnot after I've cut them into a triangle. I cut it first. I usually do 2 of them at a time. I'll cut a little rectangle, and then I'll just cut the rectangle on a diagonal.
Oh, you give yourself a little tippage.
Yeah, get a little tail, and then I put the hook right through the fat part and have the little tail hanging off.
Right.
And you can do that with either just a plain jig head or these little mini no-brainers, the little circle hook with a weight on the shank.
Well, let's just pull one out and show us how you would do it. We got time.
Yeah, these things are great. You know, you just get all the way around the bottom there and put him on. And that thing, and just cast that out and let it sit, just like a dead shrimp or or a live shrimp even. Right. And they will eat that like crazy. Yeah. Little sand trout, little pompanos, everything. Flounder. I caught a lot of flounder on fish bites. So
I love the smell of fish bites. To me, it smells like mashed potatoes
I know.
before You know, like my mother made instant mashed potatoes.
I know.
It's what they smell like.
I know.
Instant mashed potatoes.
A good thing to have if you're going to be fishing on a high spot and you're fishing for fish that you want to keep. You know, it's a bridge gaff like this. You can lower it down and you know, get a great big fish
so
up.
You lower this down, put it underneath the fish. Obviously, you'll have this off, and
Correct.
then you're going to
Give
stick
it a
him
little
in the
jerk.
little belly.
Yep, and pull him up. And then, you know, if you're using 20-pound test line and you're 10, 20, 30 feet up off the water, you're not going to be able to hand line him up there a lot of times. The line will break. If you're catching fish that you want to let go, we have another a bridge net over there. You can you can just lower that down and get up underneath of them and catch the fish for a release. You know, if you're
you swim him over the top of the
Correct.
hoop, and then you just pull this up.
Pull the hoop up, and you know, for your big jack crevalles or tarpon or whatever, you want to catch them and let them go.
Bull red fish.
Exactly, a fish that's too big. So, yeah, you can do that.
Dave, it just seems like every week we just don't have enough time to convert.
We didn't even talk about my miradines or spoons or nothing.
We'll get that
No,
next time.
we didn't. But you know what? Fish bites is so good, you'll even catch a Captain Rick Murphy on it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Smells like mashed potatoes.
Mashed taters.
Mashed taters.
All right,
Instant, of course.
instant, of course. Let's head into the lower fresh region where Matt Reed is talking about Lake Falcon, Fayette, Somerville, Travis, and Buchanan. Tell us how we can get to fishing, Matt.
All right, Brie, let's get this thing started. We're gonna have a little short talk here on the piers and docks. You know, freshwater's not as big a deal as it is on the coast, but it is. There's a lot of fun to be had. You know, search out your marinas. A lot of those have, you know, docks you can fish off of. State parks have docks, so search out those piers and docks and get you access. The marina docks are a great place to target fish of all kinds. Get you some minnows. That'll you can catch crappie, bass, catfish, you know, any of that type of thing on minnows. If you just want to have some fun with the kids, or even for grown-ups for something to eat, crickets and earthworms are a great way to load up on catching a bunch of bluegill. Don't worry about, you know, not being able to go fishing because you don't have a boat. Get on those docks and marinas and get out there and have a good time. Now we're going to move on to the largemouth. Going to start off at Falcon. Falcon has been on fire lately. This week, the big fish have been extremely cooperative. There have been several techniques that have been working well for me. The best numbers have come on a Texas rig, big ribbon-tail worm, and plum or plum apple, in the man-made brush piles in that 10 to 20-foot range. We're also finding groups of big ones on the rock structure from the mid-lake area to the dam. Those rockfish have been being caught on a big stand-up head, big shaky head type with a half ounce weight, with an 11-inch straight tail worm, and I'm also catching them on 3/4 ounce football jigs. It's just amazing every summer how awesome the giants bite down there in the heat. It's always fun. Moving on down or on up, Fayette County has been hit or miss this week. Wind has made it a little tough. There's been a short window early where spinner baits and rattle traps have worked against the reeds before the sun hits the water. After that, you need to move out to the old road beds and drop-offs. They've been having to be caught on drop shot finesse worms, small trick worms, or a Ned rig. You know, on the plastics, watermelon chartreuse or red bug have been the best colors. Most of those deep fish are in the 20 to 25-foot range. Somerville's also been a little stubborn this week. The bass have been slow, but the ones being caught are caught on a green pumpkin or a black trick worm on a shaky head in brush piles at 15 to 18 foot. There's also some bass mixed in with the hybrids and whites. If you want to just get out there and throw a spoon in them in whatever activity you see, there's no telling what you'll catch doing that. Brian Cotter from the Austin area with Texas Hogs has sent me a report from Lake Travis. It's also slowed down a little bit. The schooling's about gone away, but there's a little bit every morning. If you see them, get you a straight tail swim bait. Try to get it in the middle of them as fast as you can. That way, you know, you're able to catch some. They go down. It's been a little tough. Later in the day, you want to concentrate on the brush piles. Throw a Texas rig stick bait in a watermelon color. And with the zebra mussels at Travis, you need to let that fish swim a little bit before you set the hook, hoping he'll clear the brush pile so you don't cut your line on the zebra mussels. There's been quite a few 4 and 5 pound fish caught there lately.
Lake Buchanan is always fun for a mixed bag. You got largemouth, you got Guadalupes, you got spots. They're all biting early on jigging spoons and deep cranks. There's also been a topwater bite on a popper. So, any of that can be really good there. That picture there, that's a client of mine this week, Steve, with a great big old falcon special.
Oh, dang.
Those fish are so healthy in the summer, they just eat up because of the warm weather. They eat all the time.
That's good.
Lots of fun. But we want to talk about crappie a little bit. The crappie at Falcon are biting very well also. Again, it's a man-made brush pile deal in that 12 to 22 foot range. Limits are readily available on an 1/8 ounce jig, tipped with soft plastics. My favorite colors are red chartreuse, Junebug chartreuse, and monkey milk. One of the keys, though, is to change color after they quit biting, and you'll catch some more out of that pile. That's just a typical picture there of a 2-man limit, a big old falcon crappie. Man, that's some good eating.
Yeah, it is, man. I was telling Kathy today, Matt, I really want to come down and go fish with you. That's going to be on my list for 2021 for sure, bud. Appreciate it very much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the lower coast hot spots, or lower fresh hot spots. He says that Falcon Lake, the crappie are biting extremely well. Target the main lake brush piles in 12 to 20 feet of water with an 1/8 ounce jig head. And then if they slow down biting in the pile, just change the color of the plastic to add more fish to the krill. And guess what? The limit is very common, Brie.
You better bring me with you so I can catch one of those Lake Falcon specials he's always showing us.
All right, that's a date.
All right, sounds good to me.
You bring the fish bites.
I definitely will.
Okay.
Get ready to cast, reel, repeat in the Garmin Lower Coast and Fish Bites Upper Coast region. Hello, because we're headed your way next. And remember to keep up with everything fishing in Texas. Make sure to head over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page, of course, Captain Rick Murphy, where we upload new videos and adventures every week. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Contender Boats, always in the game. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Alvy Reels, a better way to fish. And Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Why is Casa Vieja Lodge on everyone's bucket list?
Left teaser! Left flat as well, 2 fish! They're everywhere! Right flat teaser as well! Left flat, right flat teaser!
Come to Casa Vieja Lodge and check it off your list.
Finding a shoreline is easy. Finding a sure thing is not. For over 20 years, anglers from Kitty Hawk to California and every shore in between have come to know one thing: that nothing says no to fish bites. So just stop with the fishing and get busy with the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures or visit fishbites.com.
Today's power pole tip is about the travel strap. Now, a month or so ago, I was traveling down to Flamingo, which is a 50-mile drive. Now normally I don't travel with my power on, but because I had purchased some stuff and had it in my live well, I had to have the aeration system on. Thus, now I have a power pole situations that are active. Now, I carry my remote inside the seat. Something bounced up on the remote, deploying my power poles. So you can imagine 50 miles later in the down position, my spikes when I got down to the boat ramp at Flamingo were only about this long. If I would have had the travel strap at that time, we wouldn't have had any problem. It really works very, very well. It works on all the power pole models, and it's really simple on how you put it on. We're gonna simply go around like so. I like to bring it right here by one of the bolts here. We're gonna pull the Velcro tight and strap, pull it on there tight. Now this keeps my power pole from deploying even if the power's on or if there's some problem with the switch because of something laying on top of it. So if you have any questions about the travel strap, it's $14.99, or we'll actually make you a deal and sell you 2 for 30 bucks. So go to powerpole.com, and that's today's Power Pole tip. You know, it's important to make sure you can strap that thing so it doesn't go down, because it's a bad deal.
You don't have a problem until you have a problem.
You get down to the boat ramp.
Oh no.
Boy.
Get your power pole.
Yeah, call me Shorty today.
Oh no. All right, let's get Captain Chad Kinney on the line to talk about the inshore, offshore, and dock pier jetty bite in the Garmin Lower Coast region this weekend, so we can walk the walk. Go for it, Chad.
I'll tell you what, everything's hitting on all cylinders. You're talking like docks, piers, jetties, inshore, offshore. Everything's finally going, and a lot of it's due to our good weather we've got. So it's looking really good. Talking about some piers and jetties and docks. You know, fishing, I've been doing it since a kid, growing up, and I still do it, still love it. So fishing from the docks, you know, piers, jetties, you know, it's a great experience for family, anybody's an enthusiast, which we all are, to get out there. It's easy access normally, and you catch a huge variety of fish, which makes it a lot of fun. And fishing, say, like piers at night under the lights, try some sea shad, saltwater assassins in a lighter color. You get some more glow-in-the-dark stuff like that with the 1/8-ounce jig head. And look for bait and trout popping, you know, like shrimp or anything else popping, and trout be popping in the water, and you cast over there. Lots of times with the with the edges of the lights, you're fishing at night like that, they're going to be on the very edge, maybe 10 feet back. So kind of wait for your cast, and they start popping and going, catch over there, and boom, you'll hook up. Also, another species right there around the docks and jetties everywhere else, mango snapper is excellent. You know, what you can get is smaller pieces of like dead shrimp with a smaller 1 to 2 eagle claw hook, and then slide that shrimp right on there and kind of lower it down right by the pilings or the edges of the rocks or the docks there. It's really productive, and it's great eating fish also. Other species you might find around that stuff, plenty of, you know, black drum, sheephead, redfish, trout. You can keep on going on. It's a lot of fun. So we got docks here at my marina, and my daughter, I'll show you a picture right here. Mango snapper is pretty much everyday occasion. She's kind of spoiled. She'll go out there and catch, you know, dinner for herself and be done in 15 minutes. So moving over to inshore, the best stuff right now, guys, for hot spots, we can talk about basis and everything else, but the best spot right now, if you can go, I'd go to the Lower Coast jetties. Talking about Port Aransas, Port Mansfield, South Padre Island. The redfish are not huge numbers, but it's really good out there because of the calmer conditions. And look for, you know, bait balls also moving in and out of these passes or some beachfront areas. The redfish, like I mentioned, around the jetties, these calmer conditions, it's good to get out there. Like, that bait's going to be moving up and down the jetties with the tides, and the fish those deeper holes and washouts. So when you do this, go with a heavier jig, about 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce, depending on the tide movement, and fish a fish bite right there, strip right attached to it with just a jig head by itself. Chartreuse and a red color right there works fantastic. You know, throw it down, let the jig sink, and then bounce it off the bottom, kind of repeat it, and you'll get some good slot redfish and some oversized redfish in there. If you're moving to some fresh bait, menhaden and mullet working really good on a Carolina rig. On the bottom there, you can use that with a kale hook, eagle claw, 5 to 7 aught in size. Go with a 40, 60 pound Memorial fluorocarbon leader at least. You know, the bait balls are moving around the jetties, or you can get to them off the jetties there. Tie on a mirror lure top dog rigged with a small haywire twist of wire in case you get mackerel action and stuff like that in there. But you might get some tarpon, you might get redfish, you might get all the above. And we got a picture of a big, big oversized redfish here that was released.
Nice. That guy looks happy.
Wow.
What do you say about that?
Yeah, that's a monster. So moving to the offshore action, which has really been picking up out deeper on, you know, some blackfin tuna around the deeper shrimp boats, and plenty of federal and state water snapper action still be ready to go. It's really good. starting with the snapper again. It's still open right now for federal and state waters. Best way to approach the offshore trip, in my opinion, is head out deeper for your pelagics, whether it's wahoo, dorado, tuna, billfish. And on the way home, stop in your federal or state water and your free snapper and come on home for some groceries if you have time or feel like it. The calmer conditions really picked up the snapper bite. I haven't seen too much current out there, so definitely use your Garmin sonar, take advantage of that, make some drifts. If you're looking for suspended fish, they're usually up there in the column. You'll see some marks on your sounder, and go with a Eagle Claw Trocar rig. Those Trocar hooks, I've been telling us all season, they're really sharp and durable. Use a 1 to 3 ounce and go ahead and tip it with some fresh bait or a fish bite. Let it go down through the water column so you find the depth of fish you're at, and then slowly kind of jig it up. You don't want to do like a real fast retrieve for amberjack right now, so you just want to kind of slowly jig it and move it up through that column, and you'll whack some fish. So I got a picture here of my daughter. We went on our Shallow Sport X3 here. It is so calm. We got a picture of a beautiful, like a 10-pound mangrove snapper, and she caught it on an Alvy 60, which is their smaller spinning reel with diamond braid on there, which is 8-pound diameter, loaded up with some 30-pound tests, and it's just a blast doing that stuff.
Quick on the tuna, Chad.
Yep. So tuna fishing out deeper, head up to about 150 to 300 feet. Pull some smaller islander lures, about 7.5 to 8 knots. Mark your fish, of course, with the Garmin's, and with that through there, work these behind the shrimp boats when they're trolling on the sides and the doors. They start culling baits and stuff. Go ahead and wait for that bait and pull up through there and hit them right through there with the troll. And if not, you can stop with a bigger Eagle Claw jig. Maybe go up to like a 3 to 5 ounce or better. Drop right down through there and hit some blackfin on that.
All right, thank you so much, Chad. Great report from the Garmin Lower Coast region. It's time for the Shallow Sport Boats Lower Coast hotspots. He says inshore trout fishing is great along the Lower Coast in 3 to 5 feet of water around the grass beds and sand pockets. Head to the Lower Coast jetties for redfish action, both slot reds and oversized. And then offshore, blackfin tunas are out on the shrimp boats, and then the red snapper bite is excellent close by.
Sweet, Rick. All right, well, the Fish Bites Upper Coast region might be right for some good old land fishing this weekend, so let's get Captain Carl on the line to give us some in-depth info. Hi, Carl.
Hey, guys. Yeah, talking about land-based fishing, it's really big up here on the upper coast of Texas. Starting off on the Texas City Dike, this is the longest man-made fishing pier in the world. It stretches 5.3 miles out into the Galveston Bay. And this dike is one of the most popular places to launch a boat and fish in the entire Texas Gulf Coast due to its location, ease of access, and it has really great amenities. It has restrooms, fish cleaning stations, picnic shelters, and much more. So fishing here is very productive year-round, but it's hot here in the summer. This dike offers tons of different species, and way too many spots for me to even try to start naming off today. But like the flounder bite along these rocks is good from the start of this dike all the way to the end. Trout and redfish are really abundant. Black drum, jack, sharks, and almost any kind of bait fish you can think of. There's also a lot of great spots to catch really nice blue crab. We have a picture today here. Natasha has one. You get about a dozen of these and you're pretty set for the evening.
Oh boy, I bet Tasha's a little crabby now after they just canceled y'all's little tournament.
Well,
but keep on going. We'll talk about that after you get to the end.
So something, guys, we don't touch on a lot in the upper coast, or I haven't recently, is fishing at night. But both trout and redfish can be caught after dark. Texas having some of these brutal summer days, the night bite can be your best friend as long as you can beat the mosquitoes. Now, talking about piers and docks, they're a great place to look for fish at night. Most of these docks are lit in our area, and there's more than you can shake a stick at. But let me say this first. Please be respectful of anyone's dock or pier you may be fishing near. Most of these docks are private property. As a fellow angler, I just say please don't crowd someone's dock. The lights from the docks bring in tons of bait in these areas, which helps, produces a lot of legal fish during the summer months. I personally like to throw soft plastics like a bass assassin. They make a great 4-inch sea shad. MirrOlure is another great product. They make some awesome topwater twitch baits that work great on the dock lights at night. And today we have a picture of Jarvis getting set up for some night fishing on one of the jetties.
Nice. All right, let's go offshore, bub.
All right, so a lot of our offshore trips start at the jetties here in Galveston. Everything we catch, our bait, to running the channel markers for ling and other species. Moving out along the jetties, we catch Spanish mackerel there, smaller king mackerel, like I was saying earlier, jacks, trout, bulls, reds, and plenty of other species. So if you don't have a boat, don't worry. The jetties and the beachfront are full of fish in these hot summer months. Land-based shark fishing is also very popular. When catching these big fish, just please remember to practice catch and release. Make sure there are plenty of these around for our next generation of anglers. The tarpon bite is another good fishery that takes off late in July and into August. On calm days, there's plenty of anglers that chase these old silver kings up and down the beachfront all day long. And today we have a picture of Johnny and Nick, who just won a tournament, a 3-fish tournament here of Dorado, Mahi, and King, or Dorado, Ling, and King, sorry.
Oh, that's
nice.
a pretty picture.
All right, tell me about the Mahis fishing.
Okay, running offshore, the Dorado bite has been a little slow this year, but don't give up. With these calmer seas we've got coming in, the weed lines are gathering up from the open ocean a little more, which provide a great place for the Dorado to linger and chase bait. Something I was talking to a friend about is the size of Dorado. As the summer pushes on, they get a lot bigger here, and I never realized how fast they grow. They grow at an incredible rate. Did you know that a conservative growth rate of a healthy Dorado is 1/2 to 1 inch per week, and they gain 2 to 3 pounds a month? So at this ratio, a 50 to 60 pound fish is less than 2 years old. Thought that was kind of neat. Now, when you're trolling the weed lines for these fish, faster is always better. These fish can top out at 50 knots, so don't be afraid to kick it up, the old throttle up a little bit. If you're seeing fish but not getting any strikes, your speed is definitely too slow. I like to pull a spread that consists of different colored islanders rigged with ballyhoo and at least 2 to 3 R&R Mahi mags in various depths and distances. And we have a picture of a pretty little Dorado here today.
All right, Carl. Well, thank you so much. It was a great report from the Upper Coast region, but it is time for the MirrOlure Upper Coast hotspots. He says inshore, fishing the jetties and the docks using live shrimp on a popping cork. This rig is going to catch most anything that swims. Bull, redfish, flounders, and sheepsheads is to name a few. And then offshore, troll weed lines for Dorado with a mixed spread of islanders rigged with ballyhoo or maybe an R&R Mahi magnet like I just showed you.
Well, we're supposed to fish the Matagorda Mermaid Tournament, and
Yes.
due to weather, we're not sure if we're still fishing it. So, we still have our fingers crossed, but we'll have to wait and see.
So guys, if you're planning on going out this weekend, be careful. Check your weather before you leave.
Very careful.
Everybody needs to be safe.
Absolutely. All right, we're checking in with our last guide in the Upper Fresh region where it's ripe for the pickings. So stay hooked, and we'll be right back on the Texas Insider
Fishing Report.
Here we go.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a MirrOlure. Diamond Fishing Products. Our reputation is on the line. And Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems.
At the pinnacle of super high output, 4-stroke outboard performance, you'll find Yamaha VMAX SHO. Yamaha's game-changing SHO technology. From exhilarating V6 models to the sleek inline 4s, there's a VMAX SHO for everything from bass to bonefish. It's an extended family of 4-strokes engineered for lightweight, inspiring performance, and rock-solid reliability. Discover VMAX SHO and elevate your expectations.
the only reel with over 100 years of heritage. Alvi reels are manufactured using the most reliable components. Alvi's state-of-the-art drag and retrieve rates are perfect for any fishing challenge. So whether it's a side cast or spinning reel, Alvi makes a reel that best fits your needs. Alvi reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the Alvi also comes with up to a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alvius.com.
So Dave, you got some big stuff over here tonight.
Yeah, stuff like won't even fit on the bench.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that first over there.
We're going to talk about this.
Yep. The Ocean Tamer Marine Bean Bag with our lovely model Brie.
Yes.
Yep. She's probably going to sit in it. Are you going to sit in it?
I'll sit in it.
Sit in it.
All
Because
right.
it's designed to absorb shock and provide total body support and comfort even on rough days.
Very supported. and
100% marine grade materials, waterproof, mildew and stain resistant.
Yep.
Lightweight, very portable.
Yes.
We carried
can
them in
sleep
here.
on it.
They're very lightweight. 2 nylon straps on the bottom. You can tie it down or
bungee
carry
cord
it.
'em.
Yep. Or hang it to dry, and cleans up with soap and water. Made in the USA. You put a custom logo or boat name on it, like
Right.
it has, like yours
Yeah,
is
like
on
the
there.
Murphy Law Sport
Yeah.
Fishing, and then the Sportsman's Adventures over there.
Right. So go to oceantamer.com and get your bean bags. They're perfect for a center console boat.
But they're perfect for a bay boat too, Dave.
Yeah,
I use them all the time when we're making those long runs with Paige in the redfish
Yeah,
tournament.
because Paige drives really fast, like you do.
No, I would never drive like
Yeah,
that.
like a maniac. All right, next we got Caddy Can dry bag, and this is a 10.5 quart dry bag, which means you can put it on the boat, put all your phones and electronics and whoopity doo-dahs that need to stay dry, put them in the Caddy Cam. It's PVC tarpaulin. Yeah, not tarpon, tarpaulin construction. It's waterproof, obviously. An adjustable shoulder strap. All the seams are welded, thermo welded. Upgraded buckles on there, and the roll top makes it completely waterproof.
Dave, what I like about this Caddy Can waterproof bag,
yes,
is the size. So many of the bags have gotten so big.
Yeah, that's true.
And
you
so
put
now
too much crap in them, and then you can't lift
exactly.
them.
But this one, after you make that initial one roll or roll and a half, look at the size.
Yeah,
Perfect. Where do you go to find this?
Caddycam.com.
And where do you go to find the Ocean Tamer?
Oceantamer.com.
Okay. Now what?
All right. Now we got the Star Bright Power Pine biodegradable concentrated bilge cleaner. And if you got a bilge and it gets a bunch of grease and oil and transmission fluid and all kinds of junk in there, what you can do is you can spray some of this bilge cleaner in there, let it sit in there for an hour, drive your boat around, and then go and pump it out. And it'll clean up that action of the boat moving around in there. It'll clean all that stuff out of there. 32 fluid ounces like that it'll make 96 gallons. Because what you do is you put like 1 fluid ounces into a 3-gallon bucket of water, and that's what you use to clean it with.
Nice.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It dissolves in fresh or salt water, so you can use it in either one. And it doesn't, it's not bad for the environment. It's biodegradable. It emulsifies all the oil and stuff. when you get
And
in.
where do we go to that?
Starbright.com.
Okay.
Next, we got these nice coolers from.
And this is a very well thought out
from
cooler.
Academy Outdoors.
This is why it's thought out.
Yeah, it's very cool. Open. It's got big, just like a Yeti. It's really solid, heavy duty construction. It's got a bottle opener on each side. Not on one side, on both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, you can set that in the middle of you, and you don't
But
have to
here's
get
what I
up
like.
to open your beer.
Here's what I like.
Yeah, like I said, either side. It opens up both sides.
It's an ambidextrous.
Yeah, that's correct.
my
Or
gosh.
if you don't even
lid.
or you can take it completely off.
You don't want the lid, you just throw it over.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. All stainless stuff on here, and aluminum, and reinforced tie downs here on the corners. FDA approved materials, all UV resistant. It's easy to clean. If you notice, all the surfaces are real smooth, so it cleans real easily. You can put dry ice in it. It's dry ice compatible, and it's got a really large drain plug that's chained. chained on there, and you can see how it's skidding across there. It's got nice non-skid feet on there.
So where we find this at, Dave?
Yeah, you can go to Academy of Sports.
Exactly.
Yeah, Academy of Sports and Outdoors.
How big do they make these up to?
Up to, I think it's a 65 quart.
55 or 65?
65.
All right, where are we going, Brie?
You know, it's cooler than the rest of them.
That's pretty neat.
It is
pretty
cooler.
neat. I really like it.
Really cool.
All right, well, I'm just comfy here. We're watching the time fade away, definitely not wasting any time on Tawakoni, Louisville, Ray Hubbard, Arlington, and Grapevine. So, Johnny, take us fishing.
Hey, we're sitting on the dock of the bay here.
Woo.
Hey, the upper fresh region, it's got numerous great fishing docks and piers to fish from on some area lakes. Around the sprawling Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you can find some fishing docks and piers around Lakes Ray Hubbard, Lake Arlington, Lake Louisville, and Lake Grapevine, and the White Rock Lake. White Rock Lake's a 1,000-acre lake located approximately 5 miles northeast of downtown Dallas, and it's one of the most heavily used parks in all of Dallas, but it's got several fishing docks and piers open to the public. People want them all the time. Hey, on the south side of Lake Grapevine, the Oak Grove Park has the courtesy docks for the fishermen. The bass and catfish will be your most likely catch here, but other species bite as well. Over on Lake Ray Hubbard, dock fishermen can regularly catch at least 5 different species of fish in this one lake alone, so try Paul Jones Park in Garland. They have a dock and lots of parking. Bass Pro Shop's right across the street. Over at Bowman Park, Lake Arlington, you can fish from one of their fishing piers and catch a beautiful sunset or cast for bass along the long rail they've set up right there on the edge of the lake. Lake Louisville is a massive 29,000-acre lake just north of Dallas-Fort Worth. Another fishing pier was opened a couple years ago in Colony Parks and Recreation Department over there on Stewart Creek Park. And it's a very popular fishing dock, is the Lake Louisville Fishing Barge, and it's a great place to fish if you don't have a boat. This covered fishing dock's open 24/7, and it even provides air-conditioned indoor fishing area in the summer. Remember, you need a fishing license to fish whether you're on the bank or the dock, and try some minnows and earthworms and catch anything that swims with those baits. Good spinning rod, 10 to 15-pound test, and assortment of lures. Work on about any lake at any time. Here's a picture of the current lake record on Lake Louisville. Bass was caught a few years ago by John Babbage, weighed 13.63 pounds, right from a public fishing pier. Nice fish.
Golly, I bet there was a happy pier going on there.
It was. Over on Lake Tawakoni, man, it just keeps on rolling over there. The big striper's been biting fantastic the last few days. Captain Matt Cartwright and his customers, they're catching them really big time. Each year around this time, Matt patterns those big stripers using a large flutter spoon and a big slab and paddle tail swim baits as well. Matt's starting at daybreak each morning, catching limits of sand bass, which are up schooling at first light. The whites are feeding on the threadfin shad and can be caught on poppers or walking type top waters, but makes some exciting blow-ups, but boy, having to unhook several treble hooks slows down the catch rate. So you can burn a slab through the schooling fish and catch them with just one treble, or you can even throw a small swim bait and only have one hook to contend with, which is faster and safer. And when you're in big schools of fish, it's the best way to go. Matt's also catching some good hybrids mixed in as well. And after his customers have a box of sand bass, Matt searches for the big stripers off structure with the side scan electronics. So he's finding some large schools of big stripers, and they usually are bunched up and ready to feed here in the hot summertime. They're casting those heavy flutter spoons to the stripers, letting it fall to the bottom, making a quick sweep of the rod tip, rips the spoon off the bottom, then just let it flutter back down. Usually the strike occurs on the fall, so watch your line, get ready for it. You feel a little tick on your line, you usually got a bite and got one on. Usually several fish are after the bait, so just keep moving it. If you miss the first one, you're going to catch some fish before it gets in. Try heavy slab. If they're on the bottom, hop it off the bottom, you'll catch them that way as well. If the stripers are chasing some big gizzard shads and surface, you can catch them on a 1-ounce jig with a paddle tail swim bait. Chartreuse is always a sure bet on Tawakoni, but the pearl white also works. Here's a recent picture of a big striper one of Matt's customers caught this week. Now that's what you got right over here on Lake Tawakoni.
Nice.
Just a real quick update. Like I mentioned last week, the Mega Bass event was held on Fork this weekend. Had 1,800 anglers fish it, or $20,000 each hour first prize. Tommy Ellis won the event, a 10.5 pounder. and with $15,000 plus a brand spanking new skeeter boat with a Yamaha engine. Hey, Dave, there were 22 bass over the 24-inch slot weighed in, and that's some big-time fishing for a hot part of the summer. Here's a picture of the winning bass, 10.5 pounds. Nice. Fishing's good here. Come on down. Let's go.
How much did that bass weigh? Do you know, Johnny?
10.5 pounds.
Yeah.
Just said.
I couldn't.
10.49, and I think he caught it on a Carolina rig.
Nice.
But we expected about 4 fish over the slot to be caught on each of those for 7 hours, and man, they came in with 22 of them, and it was just a tremendous bite. Caught them good myself out there today with some customers, so fishing's improved, the weather's hot, and so was the fishing.
All right, bud, thank you. Great report. We're going to go ahead and check out the hot spots from the Upper Fresh region. He says Lake Louisville and the Dallas-Fort Worth area lakes, the white bass and the crappies are biting best early in the morning, and the slabs and the minnows are working best. Then fish are holding close to the shade under the docks and piers. And then Lake Tawakoni. The big stripers are biting on slabs, big spoons, the swim baits, white bass are schooling early on the top waters.
That's what we're here for, Rick. We got
you know
you
the reason
on the
why I
Tawakoni.
didn't hear him?
Why?
It's because the damn producer was talking in
no.
my ear. I couldn't hear nothing, man.
Great.
She's yapping in
She's
there.
Great. It's okay. We all know who's
We
at
all know
fault
the
here.
truth, guys. Right here.
Thanks for
right
tuning
down
in,
here.
guys. Make sure you go out and catch
She
those
missed me.
fish
She
off
was
the
on
Pier Dock
vacation
jetties.
last week.
And we'll see you next week. Make sure to stay safe out there.
Bye, guys.
Bye.